We thought starting a YouTube channel would be pretty straightforward. It turns out, it's not.
Getting like 100,000 views a video or whatever, and it'd be a tough way to make a living.
The hardest part isn't coming up with ideas or being consistent, it's deciding what to leave out.
It's a mystery to me, for sure.
Buckle up for the best outtakes from our YouTube journey, moments from the cutting room floor, and lessons we've learned along the way.
We're live.
We can start experimenting now. The key is to start. You gotta start. And so now we started. Okay, Eric, like it or not, we're live.
How does it finally feel?
You know, I think that in this video, I say when I walked out of Goldman, I was just determined and excited. And I think I have that exact same feeling now because this is a completely new project for me. But now that we've started this, you know, I'm all in on sharing this story and helping as many people as we possibly can. I'm excited and, you know, take back in 10 years and we'll see how it went. Well, I'm told there's nothing like a properly tailored suit. I've never had one before this experience, so I'd be lying if I, you know, told you I firsthand, but waking up every day and choosing to put on a suit is just choosing to mean business and to be serious and to take your work and your life seriously, and a suit is just an external representation of that. The first 3 times I was here is building the pattern, but then they keep updated as time goes on so that you can, you know, just to get a suit, and then I guess you still ideally do a fitting, but then it's just one fitting and you're done kind of thing. I didn't start by buying $4,000 perfectly tailored suits, and I don't think that is a necessity for success, but what it represents and the accountability around that is important. You could just put on a pair of shorts and a tank top and
a hoodie
and roll with it, you know. Very southern.
Very southern gentleman.
I'm curious, you're sitting here right now. It's a personal chapter. We're asking you to open up to everybody. What does this evolution process that you're going through kind of feel like to you today as you sit here in a place like this?
You know, Eric, before I even hired you, I had made the decision to go all in on this project. And this is just another example and signal to myself of how committed I am to this project and to my mission of building the world's leading indoor air quality company.
This is really nice on the chest.
Yep, I agree.
The fall is really beautiful. The really nice high armhole, what you have.
I think that previous versions of me would be very proud of the fact that I'm choosing at this point in my life and career to level up rather than just resign myself to a comfortable, easy existence without as much of a purpose.
All right, David, what are you walking us out towards? Why are we going out here?
Well, about 4 years into building Filterbuy, we needed more space because we had kind of outgrown our Pope Street location. And I rented a building that was originally on this slab. Put about $1 million of inventory into it and got it fixed up with a nice break room and everything for the employees. And in the middle of January, I get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning that we have a fire. And you know, I found out a few hours later that the building had completely burned to the ground. Honestly, early on it was crushing. I remember walking from my apartment to my office in Manhattan in New York City at like 4:30 in the morning because I couldn't sleep after I heard about it and I had not gotten an update yet. And so remember walking to my office and just thinking about what am I going to do?
I've been here for a couple hours. I can tell I'm not built for this. You're standing on the remains of one of the worst and lowest points of your company. Do you get built for this over time? I hear you say like it's a muscle that needs to be used, and if you don't use that muscle, you know, you may something like this may cripple you.
Business and most of life is defined by your resilience. Are you going to face a problem and overcome that adversity and figure out a way to make something happen? Or are you going to let that problem define you and give up. One of the things that allowed me to build this business is that resilience. And over time, if you exercise that muscle and you prove to yourself that you can overcome obstacles and you can be resilient, then you build more and more credibility with yourself, and you actually prove to yourself over and over again that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. My dad has this story he always loves to tell, that when I was a kid, he would always put my arm behind my back, try to give me a hard time. He likes to say that I would let him break my arm before I would cry uncle. And I've always been that way. I'll never give up. There are many times in this business where any rational person would have given up, and I probably should have given up, but I was determined to prove that I could make it work. And there's always a way. And like in business, any problem is solvable. This is probably one of the rooms I'm most proud of. During COVID, expanding was limited by getting machines and getting components to be able to scale your manufacturing process, because all of those supply chains were really screwed up. And so I had the idea of actually taking apart one of our machines and having somebody put together a CAD drawing of every single part that went into that machine, and then making those with the local machine shop at scale so that we could put the machines back together ourselves. So every machine that you see here that's painted green was a machine that we built in 2020 ourselves internally in order to be able to expand. It was a huge obstacle for us. We came together and were able to make it happen. And it's one of the things I'm most proud of. Any problem in business is solvable. So anytime you're faced with a problem, the question isn't, can I solve it, or is this solvable? It's, how am I going to solve it? And this was just another representation to myself of being given and being faced with a very significant problem that nobody else would have thought was solvable, but finding a way to be able to actually make it happen. And time and again, I've proven that to myself. And over time, when you build that muscle, you become more and more confident in your ability to be able to problem solve. And that's how you, over time, build a sustainable business.
Entrepreneurship is problem solving at its core. Step back and think about the biggest challenge you face in your business today. The question you need to ask yourself isn't, is this solvable? The right question is, how am I going to solve this? It could be an improvement to a current software system you're using, a customized blueprint for increasing output, or a better partner for your logistics. In the end, the responsibility ultimately lies with you. So start building that problem-solving muscle as fast as you can.
David, what's that sign over the back of your shoulder?
One of my failed business experiments is I thought I was going to get into meats. No, I'm joking. This building we call the Pig because it was originally known as the Piggly Wiggly. So the local people from Talladega think of this building as the Pig or the Piggly Wiggly. It's no longer a Piggly Wiggly. We were able to repurpose it into raw material storage, but there's still some remnants of the past. This is where, when I was a kid, you could come and buy your meat. So I know there are a lot of other YouTubers out there like Alex Hormozy and Grant Cardone. One of the differences between me and those guys is I'm not relying on YouTube to build a successful business. I've already built a successful business. I'm prepared to show you exactly how Filterbuy operates and how we intend to scale it in the future. I'm standing in front of one of the stores where we actually have our filters. So immediately when I walk up to it, one thing that I notice is there's nothing here, which means something is out of stock. And then I look at details like how the sticker is on different sides, and we need to have consistency. Like here on the 1425s, we did it consistent. You see how much better of a shelf presence that gives it. And so it's details like that, or seeing the shrink wrap here that's just a little bit too loose. The devil's in the details, and we're gonna keep doing better at getting all the details right, and that's really what we're committed to. We've been in Walmart's for 2.5 months, and we've learned so much in that period. And so I'm very confident that 6 months forward, we're going to be meaningfully better off than we are today, and really be able to be a great partner for Walmart, and then hopefully some other retailers as we go through the year.
Business gets glamorized, and you look at the kind of end game, and everybody wants to be a part of that end game. And building a business like this takes a lot of sacrifice because you don't have the time, and you know, if you have a family, or in my case, a wife and a family, there are many nights where I can't be there and haven't been able to be there. And like during COVID, which was one of our most formative times, I had 2 young children and a wife who was pregnant. We were living in New York City at the time, and you know, everybody was scared, and we kind of didn't know what was going to happen. And you know, I really had no choice but to move forward. I mean, I had at the time about 200 employees or so that I knew I had to take care of and that I had to keep safe, but I had to keep the business going that was, you know, feeding them and feeding their families. And you know, there was all of this uncertainty, and you know, my family had to share me with those 200 employees that I was, that I also felt responsible for, because I think as a business owner, that's it's your responsibility at the end of the day to take care of the people that you're employing.
It's very different looking at yourself from a third person perspective, which is what this kind of project really entails. You know, I think it's been quite interesting to take a little bit of a step back and think about how to present it, how to show it, how to share that. I think that seeing how the employees or the people that we actually interact with get excited about being able to share their story and their version of the story, that reaction is something that surprised me a little bit, and I'm really excited to see how that evolves. I really want to be seen as an example and as an inspiration for what can be done, and how you know, there is no one way of doing business, and there's really no cheat code or, you know, kind of 10-step process you can follow to get success. It really just comes through consistent work and determination and you know, iteration on a project. And you know, that is what I do best, and I think that being able to actually show people that is the thing I'm most excited about.
I've learned so much in doing this, as Eric knows better than anybody. And so now I am learning how I'm going to weave the storylines every week. And so like, we're actually going to be able to, you know, just give them exactly what it is that we want to get out of that week, rather than giving them tons of footage that they have to then chop down. You know, I'm not worried about people copying us. I mean, the whole reason why we're doing it is to show people that this is a pathway, and show them the lessons that you kind of learn along the way. But you know, you can do it with any idea. This is just with air filters that now has led to us building the world's leading indoor air quality company, right? But you could do that with anything. You just have to figure out what you want to focus on if you really want to go that on that journey. So that's what I'm trying to get across.
It's a nice depiction of how you do straddle those worlds. Like, you know, there might be a loose ceiling tile when you show the admin supply by, but then yes, you're getting on your plane, because that's an efficient use of your time, and these are the two worlds.
We'll see if it's crazy or not, but I don't think it's the kind of content you can find anywhere else.
Yeah.
In 2024, if you want to build a brand, social media is really the only way. And I spent tons of money on, you know, random influencers and, you know, all types of strategies, and they just never really worked, to be honest with you. And I realized that the only way that I was going to be able to do it is to make it really personal and to do it myself. And I've thought about it for years, but I never really felt compelled to do it, or I always talked myself out of it. Now that I'm doing it, I decided I got to go all in.
Yeah.
That's a big reason why I spent so much time in the last 18 months really cleaning up, and then culminating in, you know, hiring you and Spencer specifically to allow me to go out and grow the pie, hopefully. But a year ago, I couldn't have devoted the time that I am now to this. This is where we make our whole house filters, Michael. If you're wondering.
How does it feel to see and know you built all this?
How does it feel?
To build this empire.
It's not an empire yet, Michael. It's going to become an empire. But you have to realize that I did it all in an incremental way, right? Yeah. And so, you know, I remember the day getting in this building and how important that was at the time. And it seems so long ago, though. So, you know, one thing that I've learned, even in doing this project, that I think makes me a little bit different than maybe other people, and I've just realized this about myself, but I really don't enjoy looking in the past. For me, it's all about the go forward, all about the future. Right. That's what gets me out of bed every day. So I don't spend any time, like when I walk through a place like this, I don't spend any time reminiscing on the past. That's why going and talking about it in the first few episodes was so difficult for me, because it's just not something I spend a lot of time thinking about. That's the truth, because I enjoy waking up and feel like I have a purpose, waking up every day with a purpose. That's really important to me. Here, I'm gonna tell you something that annoys me. And it's a tough problem to solve. If you actually know how to solve this problem, then give me a call. When I see this truck, I see a lot of wasted space, and it drives me crazy. Look at all that extra space on the top. And we're paying to ship this truck to a distribution center, and we've got a lot of wasted space on the top, which
is probably equivalent to an extra pallet, maybe?
Easily equivalent to an extra pallet. And you know, it's a surprisingly difficult problem to solve, because you know, you got to be able to unload them at the other end. You got to be able to reach the top of the pallets. You got to be able to stack them and keep them from turning over. That's why we wrap all the pallets. It's to, you know, to keep them from turning over when they're in a truck. But you know, I have to believe that there's a way for us to stack them higher than we are in this truck. And you know, it's a lot of wasted space.
Post below in the comments if you got something.
So if you want to tell me how we can do a better job of this, I'm open to it. I'm thankful that I do not rely on YouTube to make a living, because it is a lot more work than it looks.
How many months till we crack the code?
2 months max, we're going to crack the YouTube code. I really do not understand the videos that YouTube serves or people engage with and the ones that they don't. It's a mystery to me, for sure, but we're going to keep cranking until we figure it out, so stay tuned. You know, I'm incredibly proud of what I've been able to accomplish over the last decade, and what we have, as a business, have been able to accomplish over the last decade. And part of my hope with this whole YouTube series is to be able to show people that it is possible to have an impact, that it is possible to have a positive impact on a community while still building a profitable business that can serve you and your family.
Jumping headfirst into the content world has taught me so much so fast. It's a place I avoided for many years, and now that we're in it, I'm determined to solve it. I'm also excited to share the process with everyone and give you as much value as possible to help you on your own business journey. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week.